Good morning, all. I would like to call this meeting to order and welcome everyone this morning. Welcome to all members of council. Welcome also to our staff that will provide us facts and information so we can make decisions in the best interest of all residents of ACW, permanent and seasonal. Welcome to all members of the public that are joining us this morning and the media who may be also joining us. Meetings of council are live streamed on the Township's official website in accordance with the live streaming and virtual participation of meetings policy. Do any members of council have a pecuniary interest or general nature thereof to indicate at this time of any agenda item that we have today? Thank you. We do have a set of minutes from the 4th of November, and I would entertain a mover and a seconder for the adoption of these minutes, please. And that is Councillor Miltenberg and Councillor Forrester, that Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh Township Council hereby adopts the November 4th, 2025 council meeting minutes as written. Do we have any questions on these minutes? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion? And that is carried. Thank you. Open forum is an opportunity for any members of the public to make any comments that they would care to regarding any agenda item that we have today. If you would like to make any comments, please proceed to the microphone, indicate your first and last name and the agenda item you would like to address. Please.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you. I would like to speak about 9.1, I believe it is. I can't bring it up on my phone.
And your first and last name, please.
I'm sorry, yes. My name is Barbara Smythe, and I think it's 9.1, but I can't bring it up on my phone like everyone else today. So I'd like to speak about the process of the working group committee, if I could. With all due respect, I feel that the process of selecting citizens for the working group should be done in a more way that isn't behind closed doors, and that the council should reconsider the process. I'd like to know what steps are being taken to ensure that this process will be done in an unbiased fashion. If this was, let's say it was like a municipal election in the township, and the councillors and the township members were the ones selecting the ballots, would that be an acceptable process? I firmly believe that the selection process of choosing citizens who will be joining the working group should be done with transparency. It needs to be done in an unbiased and fair approach and at arm's length. The process should be done randomly, in like drawing a name out of a hat sort of thing. The public notification of requesting applications was not publicized widely enough. Some of the people had trouble locating the information on the website. Not everyone is computer savvy. Not all tax-paying members of the farming community have access or participate in online information or social media. Therefore, I ask council, what consideration has been given to our Amish community and our older generation in this process? The application deadline timing was inconvenient for farmers during this harvest season. I believe a small number of farm owners are not even aware of the process or the proposed bylaw change. I would ask council not to move forward until appropriate steps have been taken to raise awareness before starting this working group. Small farmers and small businesses in the community will be impacted the most by the bylaw changes. There are better solutions, and there would be more acceptable ways to make the community better for all. Those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Is there any other members of the public that would care to make any comments regarding any agenda item we have today? Seeing none, I thank you for that. And we will now entertain item 5.1 under delegations. And I would like to welcome Dave Hannon to present on behalf of Zelenko Priamo Limited and the application Z01-2025 Smith. Welcome, Dave.
Good morning, Your Worship, members of council. My name's Dave Hannam. I'm a partner and registered professional planner with Solinka Priamo Limited. We're the planning consultants for the proponent, Mr. Reuben Smith, who's in the gallery today. Reuben is a local businessman. He has deep family ties to the area and the subject lands, which include his father-in-law, Paul Fagan, who currently owns the rear portion of the lands and farms the lands and will continue to do so going forward. And also he's a predominant farmer within the surrounding area as well. I haven't prepared a visual presentation. I know that Megan has some visual aids as part of her presentation. I know we're a little analog today, but there is a graphic of the revised concept plan within the staff report as well, if individuals want to have a look at that. I just wanted to take 5 or 10 minutes to quickly sort of speak to what's transpired since the public meeting took place in mid-July. As you remember, the application was deferred so that we could go back and address some of the concerns and comments that were raised as part of that process. I'd like to take a little time to do so right now.
Dave, if I could just say that you have a 10-minute limit on this, so I wanted to make you aware of that.
I'll be well within that.
Not a word.
Thank you, Worship. Based on the staff report that we've read, it looks as though most of the technical issues associated with the application have been resolved. We are disappointed to see that planning staff continue to recommend denial. We are hopeful that this council will have a positive endorsement of the application when it comes to the ultimate decision later in the agenda. I must say that municipal staff have been very diligent in terms of their review of the application. To give you some insight, since the application was submitted back in October of 2024, there's been no less than 6 resubmissions provided back to the municipality. In terms of what's transpired since mid-July, what I can say is that the concept plan still reflects 8 residential lots, which is reflective of the historic subdivision approval. There is currently no active farming taking place on the lands earmarked for the residential component. In terms of the concept plan itself, which is in the staff report, that's been effectively refined so that we no longer need a minimum 25-metre setback to the front yard. The lots comply with the required 10-metre building to property line setbacks, and there's no requested reductions in terms of MDS setbacks as well. In terms of the concept, you'll note that it's been refined to show the areas of existing trees versus the areas that are going to be removed for the developable area. And that also includes the areas that will be the vegetated areas that have been identified for protection and ultimate enhancement as well. It's always been Reuben's plan to keep as many trees as possible on the site to provide for buffering and privacy for future residents, and that's my understanding of what the original intent was when the farmer planted the trees in the first place. As requested by staff to address perceived traffic safety issues, the concept plan has been revised so that the number of driveways have been consolidated. So there's 4 driveways for the 8 lots and 1 driveway for the agricultural lands to the rear. We consulted a traffic engineer, R.C. Spencer, who provided some information through to us, and then we provided to the municipality in terms of anticipated trip generation for this. In summary, it's going to be roughly 6 movements in the AM peak time and 8 movements in the PM peak time. They also concluded that sight lines were good for good decision making when exiting and entering the site, and generally concluded that the development wouldn't result in any adverse traffic impacts. As you may know as well, in mid-October, Huron County approved a reduction in the speed limit at this section of Highway 25, which includes the frontage of these lands as well, and the signs are up. Also, as part of the review process, MTO were consulted, and there's no approvals or permits required from that agency as well. In terms of the lots, they're sized appropriately for building envelopes and for on-site services and driveways. The application was supported by technical reviews prepared by civil engineering firm Grit for a nitrate and hydrogeological study, and that was peer reviewed by the municipality's consultants as well, Wilson Associates. And then grading and lot drainage will be addressed at the time of building permit. Grit confirmed to us that there doesn't seem to be any discernible issues with addressing lot grading or drainage. Archaeological resources were thoroughly reviewed in consultation with SON. Probably the biologists were the busiest of the subject matter experts with regards to the information provided for this application. The EIS concluded that roughly 30% of the existing vegetated area would need to be removed for development. But as a result, the remaining 2/3 would be protected, maintained, and enhanced as well. In terms of, and also that there would be no discernible impact to species at risk as with regards to the removed lands as well. A tree report and restoration plan would be required at detailed design, and that would also include some educational information for future homeowners to make them aware of their responsibilities with regards to tree protection. So in terms of what I perceive that the planning staff's fundamental reason for denial of the application is this is non-agricultural uses proposed in a prime agricultural area. Based on my review of the relevant policy framework, I feel as though the guiding principle of those policies is to ensure that viable farmland and agricultural operations are protected. And my professional opinion is that this site is unique in respect to addressing that guiding principle, given that there's currently no active agricultural use taking place on the southerly portion of the lands, which have been historically earmarked for residential lots. And that portion of the subject lands is not really considered viable farmland in the first place. Also, that the predominant use of the subject lands, i.e. the 30 acres at the rear of the property, are going to be continued to be farmed. And then finally, our MDS calculations provided as part of the application confirm that there is no ongoing constraints placed on surrounding agricultural operations as well. So in conclusion, given the unique nature and context of the subject lands, it's our opinion that there is really no risk to the municipality in creating an undesirable precedent by approving this application. The approval will allow for the implementation of 8 residential lots that have been historically approved. It'll also effectively add to housing choice within this part of the municipality, and obviously increased property assessments and development charges as well. As I indicated, the technical materials provided confirm that there aren't any significant impacts to surrounding ag operations or to the natural heritage values of the area, and that they'll ultimately be protected and enhanced. The bylaw that's included in the agenda package has been deliberately crafted to ensure that there are specific areas of protection for trees for each lot, and also controls the lot size and the permitted uses on each of those lots as well. So as such, it would be our respectful request that council, when it's considering the merits of the application and making a decision, takes into consideration the uniqueness of the development and the subject lands and makes a practical and balanced decision to approve the application. Thank you. I'll stick around, and if I have if there's an opportunity to answer any questions, then I will do so. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation. And I will open it up to council now if we have any questions of Dave for clarification on any of the comments that he made. Councillor Miltenberg first, please, and then we will consider this later under the presentation of our planner. But please go ahead.
No, I don't have any specific questions for this gentleman. Nice presentation, but I'd like to hear our own planner's response before I say, you know what I mean? Otherwise, I'm going to say, to everyone. Is that true? Is that true? Is that true? That, you know, and I don't have the papers in front of me. So
No
I-
worries. So do we have any questions of Dave
No, there-
on?
I might have questions about what Dave said, but I would be asking him to the planner.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Councillor Snoblin, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your extensive review of this. When I was looking through some of this, and I just studied at great detail, and I've also looked at the area. I look at it pretty much every other day going down in that area. The county planner suggests that the application is inconsistent with the provincial policy statement PPS 2024. Can you speak to some of the sections, and specifically section 2.3.1 about settlement areas shall be the focus of growth and development, and this is not considered a settlement area. And also section 4.1, development and site alteration shall not be permitted in significant woodlands unless it's demonstrated there will not be negative impacts on the natural feature of their ecological functions. Do you have any, I know I'm kind of throwing that at you at the top
Well, I
of your
can
head.
tackle the second question relatively. Yeah, I'm not a subject matter expert with regards to biology, but with regards to the woodlot, obviously the original intent was, you know, it was planted by the original farmer to provide. So this is my understanding, to provide for screening and privacy for future occupiers. Then over time, that woodlot, through the passage of time, municipalities look at the planning instruments, and they've identified this as a potential natural environment area, and so those safeguards came into play. With regards to the woodlot itself, obviously there's an opportunity. It's not a prohibition against it, but they want to make sure that effectively the ecological value of those woodlots are protected. So as I indicated in my presentation, there was an extensive review of that particular matter through our biologist and also NRSI, who acted on behalf of the county. And we got to a point where the information provided satisfies the biologist, subject to a number of other recommendations, which I talked to in terms of restoration plans, homeowner occupations as well. So in terms of the protection of the value of that woodlot, this application will do so. And then in terms of where development is to be directed, you're right. In terms of the provincial policies, typically development is directed to areas of settlement areas, which includes urban and rural areas, and it's typically surrounded around the availability of existing services. Obviously, there are different servicing thresholds available within certain areas. Obviously, there's no municipal services within these lands or the surrounding area as well. So a key part of it in terms of the test is what are the potential impacts from those proposed servicing arrangements. And that's something that was addressed through the technical review, through GRIT, and obviously the ecological side as well. So ultimately, there's a threshold and a hierarchy with regards to where development goes. But I think it's important to realize that historically these were lands that were identified for residential purposes, but that was in planned value, and then over the course of time, that's kind of been watered down through the municipal instruments, but it doesn't negate the fact that they have always been earmarked for residential purposes.
Good with that, Councillor Snoblin. Any further questions for Dave on his presentation at this time? Clarification, we're good. Oh, one more, please, Councillor Snoblin.
And because some people are kind of, worried about taking out agricultural lands for this, can you speak to how much of the agricultural land will be taken out of this should the development be approved?
Well, I think it's perceived to be a strip of about half an acre behind the existing trees. Now, when I looked at at the historical layout of the subdivision, I think that what's happened over time, because those lots were never created and there was no defined rear boundary of those lots, as is common in agricultural areas, sometimes they perceive the trees to be the boundary of the residential lot, and that's where the farmers farm to. But in reality, it's it's deeper than that. So to put it bluntly, I think that portion that is currently actively farmed was actually actively farmed on the residential lots previously. So there's a perception that there's going to be, a small, modest reduction in terms of active agricultural land, but in reality, I think that's already previously been earmarked for residential.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Councillor Forster, please.
Hey, thanks, Glenn. When you said something about consolidating the driveways, what did you mean by that?
So typically a single family home has one driveway onto the road. Now, what we've done here is because there's 8 lots, we've consolidated the driveway so that there's one driveway entrance that splits into serve 2 lots. So for each of the 8 lots, there's going to be 4 driveway entrances onto the street. So that minimizes issues with regards to vehicles entering and exiting onto Blythe Road.
Thank you. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions of Dave at this time? If not, thank you very much, Dave, for your presentation to council. We will now, and we will consider this further in section 7.1. We will now enter into our agenda under Treasury, and that would be the payment of the current accounts. And I would entertain a mover and a seconder to authorize this. And that is Councillor Snoblin and Councillor Hickey, that Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh Township Council hereby authorizes a payment of the November 2025 accounts as presented. Do we have any questions on any of these lines? If not, all in favor of the motion? And that is carried. Thank you. 6.2 is the payment of the previous month actual accounts, and I will entertain a mover and a seconder for these, please. That is Councillor Blake moves, Councillor Miltenberg seconds, that Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh Township Council hereby approves the payment of the October 2025 accounts in the amount of $830,995.34. Do we have any questions on any of these numbers? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion? And that again is carried. Thank you. 6.3 is the summary revenue/expenditure reports, and I will entertain a mover and a seconder for these, please. Councillor Forster and Blake move and second that Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh Township Council adopts the summary revenue/expenditure reports as written for the Township, Lucknow and District Medical Center, and the Lucknow and District Recreation from January to October 2025. Do we have any questions on any of these numbers? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion? And that is carried. Thank you. 6.4 is a report on the 2026 Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund allocation. It is for information purposes, and our treasurer, Ellen McManus, is very capable of responding to any questions that anyone may have on this. Do we have any questions from council on this? Okay, thank you. 7.1 is the Z01-2025 Smith application of the zoning bylaw amendment, and I would like to welcome Megan Tid-Hernick to address council with her comments on this application, please. Welcome, Megan.
Good morning, Council. I'm just going to get my presentation up so you can see kind of the new site plan that Dave had alluded to. There we go. Okay. So you'll remember in July, we heard an application for the rezoning of 8 lots on Blythe Road. There were multiple changes that Dave went over from that initial public meeting. And so I just want to go over some of those with you today as well. So here we have the subject properties. As a result of the previous meeting, the agricultural field is going to be rezoned AG1 special to recognize the lot deficiency as well as the reduced lot frontage. So the remaining 8 lots are proposed to be NE1 special, where previously they were an AG4 or a small agricultural holding lot. And this will help recognize the lot size as well as establish that tree coverage. A thing to note for future consideration is that a severance application will be required to achieve the lot sizes that we're considering in the bylaw today. The severance applications have not been submitted. I understand that they want to get this process underway first prior to the severance application. So here is the amended site plan. The areas highlighted in green are the areas that already have trees on the lot, and they are proposed to be retained for future development or after future development. The areas with kind of the little star hatching that you see, they have been identified for future or enhancement planting. And that's how we came up with the number in the bylaw for what the area that should be retained and lot coverage. So this is kind of a summary of that information. So this is where we got the bylaw numbers from. You'll see that lot 1 does not have a deficiency in lot size. It is over the required 4,000 square meters or 1 acre, but we are recognizing that the tree coverage will be 45%. And then lot 2 is 3,000 meters squared with a 25% lot coverage. I believe lots 3 and 7 are similar. They have a 3,000 meters square lot size, as well as a 40% lot tree cover. Lots 4 and 8 are again similar, and they'll have a minimum lot size of 3,700 meters squared with the minimum tree coverage of 40%. And then lot 5 having a 3,700 meter square with 50% lot coverage. And lot 6 will have a smaller size lot at 3,000 meters squared with a 40% tree coverage. So that's just kind of where we got the numbers for the bylaw came out of this kind of summary. So since July, Dave did a good job of kind of identifying all the changes that we've made back and forth. We did some significant updates to the application. The one change is that overall zoning for the agricultural property. While it is already deficient in size, it is supposed to be 30 acres or 30 hectares that is required. It's currently 12.4 hectares. So with that undersized lot, we're just recognizing that in this zoning bylaw as well. The lot frontage is required, 150 meters is required. It will be 9 meters proposed after the severance application. The proposed residential properties were originally applied for that AG4 special, so agricultural small holding. We felt it was more appropriate to designate it natural environment, as the ACW official plan already has it designated natural environment. This was agreed upon with the property owner and the planner as well. So we felt it would be more appropriate to make future landowners aware of that natural environment designation and the retention and the maintenance of those features on the property. So the updated proposed plan has also met the criteria of the front yard setback from Blythe Road. We're requiring 25 meters and they have met that. They are also maintaining the minimum distance setback to the neighboring farming operation. So that's another thing that we do not require to address. So we did have some neighbor comments the first time around. I did contact them with the updated plan just to make sure that they were aware of the changes. The neighboring farmer did not have any further comments. And the other neighbor that provided comment on behalf of multiple neighbors in the area did have concerns about the removal of the natural features, the increased traffic and residential use that's not within the settlement boundary. That individual continues to disagree with the application, the proposal, for the same reasons. So the agency comments, MVCA still did not have comments. It's not within their regulation limit. ACW staff are still concerned with the lot grading and drainage. They will be reviewing it at the time of building permit, but nothing was reviewed as a preliminary measure. So Huron County Public Works Department had quite a few comments the first time around. As Dave mentioned, the 4 residential entrances were changed, and 1 farm entrance has also been proposed. Again, the lot grading and drainage has not been provided, so they are concerned with drainage being directed onto the county road. They just want to make sure that that is not the case and it is addressed appropriately. And again, the 25-meter setback from Blythe Road has been addressed, so they have little concern with that any longer. So while there have been significant strides to come to a common ground with the application, it does still remain within the Planning Act, the provincial planning statement, both the county and ACW official plans. The residential growth is to be directed to settlement areas. Huron County and ACW are provincially designated as prime agricultural areas. Residential development is not a permitted use within these areas, and the goal is to protect the prime agricultural areas for farmland and related uses, and natural environment is considered a related use. So for those reasons, that it doesn't comply with the Planning Act, it's not consistent with the PPS, it doesn't conform to the county or ACW's official plan, it is recommended for denial. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Megan. And now I will open it up to members of council to ask any questions for clarification of Megan on her presentation to us. Councillor Snowblin first, then Deputy Mayor Vanstone, please.
Thank you very much, Megan, and appreciate your report and the information that you provided for us. I spent a fair amount of time last night, and I don't pretend to know as much as you do, on the plan on the PPS.
Yep.
And I was surprised to see that there are some exceptions when it comes to directing growth into an AG or an agricultural area. And I don't know, I'm sure you're aware of them, and you probably can interpret them better than I could, but it mentioned that, the settlement areas shall be the focus of growth and development, but there are exceptions to that. And also your quote on development and site alteration shall not be permitted in significant woodlands unless it's been demonstrated there will not be negative impacts on the natural feature of the ecological functions. And I'm gathering that those are the 2 sticking points, is that this is not directed into a settlement area, that it's being proposed to be in significant woodlands. And I'm gathering those are the sticking points, but I'm also seeing that there's some exceptions in the PPS. And I wonder if you're aware of those, or if you can speak to those in any way, what those exceptions might be or how they're directed.
Okay, thank you for that. Megan, please.
Sure. So I think the second one about the natural environment, we have done extensive work. I can confirm that both the applicants, biologists, as well as the county biologists did come to an agreement about the percent forest coverage that is to be maintained, and the kind of the disturbance that would happen during development. So it's not necessarily that part of it. We have done extensive work with that section of the Planning Act, but it is, so some of the exceptions for residential uses in agricultural areas are, surplus severances, things that are already there or are accessory to farming purposes. Those are kind of the exceptions that they're speaking about. not necessarily a subdivision in the, not that this is a subdivision, but a subdivision within 100-acre or 100-acre farm field.
Yeah, please continue.
So again, we're talking about, I think what you're trying to express to us is that this growth should not happen unless it's in a settlement area. Can you give a definition of what a settlement area is? Because I would, driving through there, there's a number of houses from that 1.1 kilometer mark where they changed the speed limit to. There's about 8 homes in there, as well as a retail business, as well as an industrial business. And there's a lot of settlement areas in ACW that don't have nearly as much as that. So can you help define what a settlement area is and why, with all of that business and homes in that area, why it's not considered a settlement area, despite the fact there's a sign there that says Dunlop?
Okay, thank you for the question. Megan, please.
Okay, no, that's fair. It does definitely say Dunlop. But when we think of settlement areas, in our official plan, we have designated areas. You'll see it's nicely grayed out on our mapping. It's in ACW, it's not so much about the municipal servicing like sewer and water, because we don't have that in the majority of our villages and hamlets. But it hasn't been designated as a settlement area in any of our policies. So, even St. Helens, those places are designated, and this one is not. We have, Saltford, just down the road, that is considered a settlement area. So.
Okay, thank you. A follow-up, please.
Well, I would argue that so is Kingsbridge considered a settlement area. And probably St. Augustine is considered a settlement area. Somebody back in the day decided, let's call this a settlement. I would argue that maybe some point back in history, somebody said, let's call this little settlement Dunlop, but it just didn't make it through the paperwork to make that happen. Would you agree that that's a possibility?
Thanks for that. Megan, please.
Yeah, and I think in my previous report from July, I had put more history in there, and it was designated a subdivision. It was going to be Millburn, but in 1975, the former township of Colborne de-designated it. So somewhere along the line, council did not feel this was an appropriate location for settlement any longer. So that's my understanding why they would kind of take out the subdivision, and it was no longer an area for development.
Okay, thanks. Continue. You're good.
I'll invite others to maybe dispute what some of the things I'm questioning.
Okay, thank you. Deputy Mayor Vanstone, please.
Thank you. And Anita stole a lot of my thunder, but anyways, that was a settlement area, and the council didn't decide. It was asked by the landowners at that point in time, because I was on council. So and it was all laid out as a settlement. You probably see on all maps and all the stuff there. So and with us going through a strategic plan at the county, that doesn't mean it can't become a settlement area again, because I think it's quite a good spot for it. So, but the council did not decide to do that. It was asked by the landowners, and it happened to be H.O. Jerry at the time, because of, and I think it was tax reasons. And so the council did decide that, okay, we would take it away as a settlement area at that time. So just for some clarification in history. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Follow up on that, Councillor Snowblin, before I go to Councillor Miltenberg, please.
I have another question, but if there's somebody following up on this, I'll defer.
Okay, I'd like to go to Councillor Miltenberg next, and then I'll come to back to you, okay? Councillor Miltenberg, please.
Yeah, thanks. I have so many scribbles and not firing on all cylinders, but I'm going to try here. There's a lot of talk about historically, it was a settlement area. It's not actively being farmed. Now, not meaning to knock the Milburn or Dunlop or whatever, but we have a Mafe King sign too, and there's nothing there. I mean, we have a lot of signs that in 1867, they thought there was going to be a lot of cities around here, and there wasn't. So the fact that it's not being actively farmed is because we were told in July that that's a deliberate choice because they planted trees there because they realized it was going to become those long ago lots were going to disappear unless they were treed so that they could be developed some time. And then those trees grew up, and then that land seemed to be in limbo land where it's not actively being farmed, but it's also not natural environment. They were just trees that were planted. So to me, that was kind of talking out of both sides of your mouth. It's either one or it's the other, but it's not neither. It has to be something. And I am happy that you did reach the conclusion with all the biologists that it's NE instead of AG4, because I think a lot of AG4s should not be AG4s, but that's something for another day, I'm sure. In July, we were told that there was some frustration because the goalposts kept moving, which I was quite confused by because with more homes faster, if the goalpost moved, it should have been made easier. So I think that that was just frustration from what I can tell from everything I've read, because the fact that it was alluded or actually stated that 6 times at least this has come forward, I would like to thank Huron County for its diligence, because I would hate to think that we would have passed the first one, whatever it was, before it got fixed. We have planners that have, I feel, was the words from the previous planner that, you know, this is the interpretation, then you're bound by your job, which is your interpretation. This is not up to provincial policy. And I may be sensitive, but I feel that when there was a comment that some people are concerned about the agriculture being lost, I'm one of those some people. I am a farmer, and I am very, very aware of urban sprawl. I've seen it. And I've heard comments, well, there's already a house there, so what's 8 more? Do you know what's going to happen? The next guy's going to say, well, there's already 9 houses here. Why can't I do it? And then you have urban sprawl all the way along. It's planning's not just today, and it's not tomorrow. It's from a long time ago. So we heard in 1867 that this should have been a settlement. And then we heard in 1975, and I know that doesn't seem that long ago to me, that is 50 years ago, right? I mean, yes, that's 50 years ago. That, at the planners at the time, and Colborne Council did make that decision based on the landowner's request, but council did make the decision to change it. And now we're being asked to make the decision the other way. And while I appreciate all the work that's being gone, I don't think that the half acre that we're talking about that's being taken out of agriculture is the problem. I think it's the entire NE area now that's being zoned NE that was taken out of agriculture that now is being made in development. To me, that sets a precedent, saying let's plant a whole bunch of trees. And then in a few years, we'll say it's not being actively farmed. Why don't we take the trees out and put some houses there? My concern is urban sprawl. And it starts one little plot at a time. And with the bigger and bigger machinery now, there's going to be a lot of odd little lots. And that's just the way it is. And you could plant trees there, and then that would be a beautiful spot, or you can keep plunking houses in here. And then it is going to impact the farmers. It's cumulative. One little house somewhere does not hurt agriculture. One little house here hurts agriculture. Whole bunch in a row so that more are built there. And now we have a new settlement area when there's lots that are not, that we own in Dungannon not being purchased. There's them in Port Albert. There are places to develop that isn't going to impact future farming. And for that reason, specifically, I will be voting against this and asking for a recorded vote. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Councillor, anyone else? Any questions, comments? Councillor Snowbloom, would you care to make any additional comments or questions, please?
Thank you very much. I'm going by a lot of what Mr. I'm saying Hannum mentioned earlier, that that there is virtually no risk in approving this. I don't see that there's a risk to agriculture. I don't see that there's a risk to the natural environment. It appears to me that all the sticking points that the county is looking at for denying this application have been addressed, have been answered, and have been mitigated. And I don't see any reason why we can't go forward with this. I feel that we have a businessman here that's looking to invest in our township. I'm not opposed to that. I'm not opposed to the fact that they have a plan to rehabilitate and the natural environment after the development has done, and that only makes sense. I am satisfied that the farming operations will continue, and I'm also satisfied, to Councillor Miltenberg's point, that I don't believe that this council will be reckless enough to make further changes to this area to keep inching into agricultural land. This is a unique 8-acre parcel of land that was originally designated as a residential area or a settlement area. And we're bringing it back to what it was historically. I don't think it has any risk whatsoever with any council members that might come into this municipality, elected municipality, to change that, to incrementally adjust and add to that parcel and those parcels of agricultural land. I am fully confident that the agricultural land and the areas around it are protected, will be protected, and will continue to be farmed. I am in favor of this, and I look forward to the recorded vote.
Thank you very much for that. Deputy Mayor Vanstone and then Councillor Heggie, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. This won't be, we're discussing this now, but do we want discussion now or at the time of the bylaws? Because there is a lot to be said, and whether we do it now or at the time of the bylaw, it doesn't matter to me, but I would like to know that. So I'm looking to the clerk or the CAO or yourself to clarify that, please.
Okay, I'll defer to our clerk first, please.
So for a matter of process, my suggestion would be that if council wants to keep talking about this, I suggest we do it now. My recommendation is going to be that if you do choose to support the application, that we consider the bylaw right now, that we don't wait until the bylaws so that we get the decision right now. We will need a decision one way or the other. So it's either a decision to deny or a decision to approve and adopt the bylaw. Okay, so those are the two decisions that need to be made. So, I mean, it's up to any member of council at this point to move one of the motions. Caveat here, if you do decide that you would like to approve the application, we do need to pass a motion saying that no further public meeting is required. Just it's a technicality, but that has to happen before the bylaw is considered. So it's a technicality. Yes, just, yeah. But yes, so we leave it up to council to where you'd like to go with this.
Yeah, I'd like to have a fulsome discussion now, and we're going to decide one way or the other to approve and consider the bylaw or deny it. Deputy Mayor, please.
Well, thank you then, Mr. Mayor. Then, yeah, I'd like to speak to this then, because I do personally believe that this is a good spot to have this. With past practice, I know I live in Ben Miller, and everybody thinks natural environment is a deterrent to housing, but not really. People love to be able to go into a lot that's covered with trees, take out what they need to build a house. The rest of the trees stay there. It becomes very good. And this area where we're now proposing to put this is very good area, because there's, as Councillor Anita, anyways, Snowblin said, there's already a lot of houses along there, very nice houses, and this isn't going to deter from agriculture at all. For that fact, I think it'll enhance our ACW, because we're also looking right now at the county level of a strategic plan as to how to bring more people and businesses into our community to enhance our community. So if we keep a negative outlook on all this stuff, nothing's ever going to happen. So personally, I think it's a very good idea, and I think it's a very good location. And as Anita said, I will be supporting this when it comes up. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Perfect. Thanks for that. Councillor Hickey, please.
Thank you. Just my compliments to Councillor Snoblin. I think her comments and questions were excellent. I think they nailed my points 100%. There was some boxes that need checked back in July when they came, and I think the applicant did an excellent job of checking those boxes. One comment about the lot sizes, they range from 0.75 acre to 1.1 acre. Prior to me moving back to my home or the farm here that I live at now, I lived in a stretch of houses that was 7 lots, severanced off that farm, and my lot was 0.48 acres. And we all had our own well, we all have our own septic. Those lots were fine at 0.48. So I'm not worried about the lot sizes at all, and I'll be supporting this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Councillor Snoblin, please.
Well, I would like to go ahead and make a motion then, if that's possible. I would make a motion that council approve the application and help me with the fine details on that, Florence.
So what I would suggest is that we pull the bylaw in right now to make that decision. Okay, so I guess what I would like you to do is we're going to move to 18.1. Okay. So first of all, I think because council had a fulsome discussion, and it's generally been the understanding that there's no second public meeting required for process, I would like a mover and a seconder to, and I'm going to, sorry, Glenn, I'm slightly taking over here. If we can get the public meeting aspect dealt with so that there isn't one required, so that when the decision gets distributed, then that has been cleanly dealt with. So as a matter of formality.
Okay, so I'm going to ask Councillor Snoblin, and I'm looking at 18.1. If you are comfortable with that, if you would be willing to make that motion, and we'll see if it gets a seconder, and then I will read that, and that will clear us.
Sorry.
Clerk, is that required?
Well, I think the point is that so Councillor Councillor Snoblin would like to move the bylaw to approve. We have a separate motion that basically indicates that we don't need another public meeting. That has to happen first. Okay, so it doesn't have to be Councillor Snoblin. It can be any other member of council who wishes to move that. Councillor Miltenberg. And
No.
And we will need a seconder for that.
So Councillor Miltenberg moves, Councillor Blake seconds.
Okay, you want to read that first motion, or I can?
You please go ahead
Okay.
with that, clerk.
Moved by Councillor Miltenberg, seconded by Councillor Blake. Whereas Council of the Township of Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh has held a public meeting on July 15th, 2025, pursuant to Section 3412 of the Planning Act, RSO 1990, with respect to a proposed zoning bylaw. And whereas certain changes have been made to the proposed bylaw after holding the public meeting, now therefore the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh hereby resolve that pursuant to Section 3417 of the Planning Act, no further notice is to be given in respect to the proposed bylaw.
And yeah, you're good with that? Okay. I will call, do you want a recorded vote on this, Councillor Miltenberg, or not? Okay, I will call for those in favor of this motion as read. And that is carried. Thank you.
So in terms of process, now would be the time, Councillor Snoblin, if you wish to move the bylaw.
Yes, I would like to move that ACW Council approve the zoning application, whatever number it is.
There is a draft motion there on Section 18.1.
Right, that we approve bylaw 40-2025, being a bylaw to approve the zoning bylaw 32-2008 for the Township of ACW.
And that it now be
And
read
now
severally
be
a first
second
and
and-
second time.
Second time provisionally adopted this 18th day of November 2025.
Yeah. So that is just a caveat here. Because they're planning on submitting a consent application, we will not be recommending that the full zoning bylaw amendment be implemented. If the consent didn't go through, then the zoning doesn't need to happen. So this is kind of like the first step, the cart before the horse type thing. So.
Okay, that has been moved. Do we have a seconder for that? And that would be Councillor Forrester. And Councillor Miltenberg, please.
Commentary before the vote, while Anita, Councillor Snowden.
Your micro.
Sorry. Councillor Snowden, you are a highly esteemed member of this council. It's clear we are on opposite sides of the fence, so I have two comments about that. While it's reassuring that you have absolutely no thought, there's no risk involved. I would suggest that I would feel more comfortable if you felt there was minimal risk, because there's always risk in something. And to Bill's comment, Deputy Mayor, and your comment, where we're going to take these houses, but you're confident that future councils aren't going to say, well, these houses are there, so we will add another one. The reality is, both of you have made the comment that there's already houses there, so why don't we add more? That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's how urban sprawl happens. You both already made the comment, and my concern is not just these, it's people are going to keep making the comment. Well, they're already there. Let's keep adding them. That's what I mean about urban sprawl. And I'm happy with the vote going forward as recorded. Thank you.
Okay, any additional questions or comments? And I have refrained from making any, and I will now, and that is the fact that this area has been identified for housing for a number of years. And a priority of the province is more housing. We have an applicant that is coming forward willing to build more housing in our municipality. And I think it is prudent to support this, and I will be supporting it. I've also continually received a comment of the red tape involved in processes, and I think this is an opportunity to demonstrate the efficiency of this council. So I will be supporting this, and I will now, if there's any other questions or comments of anyone, and if not, I will defer to our clerk for the recorded vote, please.
Okay. Councillor Miltenberg requested a recorded vote on the motion moved by Councillor Snoblin and seconded by Councillor Forrester that leave be given to introduce bylaw 40-2025, being a bylaw to amend the zoning bylaw 32-2008 for the Township of Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh, and that it now be read severally a first and second time and provisionally adopted this 18th day of November. I will read through the names of the councillors and the mayor and the deputy in random order, and please respond to the question with a yes or a no answer. Councillor Hickey.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Vanstone.
Yes.
Councillor Forrester.
Yes.
Councillor Snoblin.
Yes.
Councillor Blake.
Yes.
Councillor Miltenberg.
No.
Mayor McNeil.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you to every member of council for your thoughtful comments, diligence, and to our planner for your presentation to us. Thank you very much. Oh, yes. And Megan, the effect of public and agency comments on this decision, please. Okay, perfect. So it has been recommended that the effect of public and agency comments are 5A and 5B, and I will ask for a show of hands from council if we are in support of this, please. And that is supported by council. Thank you very much. And thank you very much, Megan, for this. So now we'll move on to item 7.2, and that is Bill 60, the Fighting Delays Building Faster Homes Act of 2025 and the proposed planning changes. Megan is here to respond to any questions that any members of council may have, and this is for information purposes. Do we have any questions, Megan? If not, thank you very much for that. We have under the building department, we have the chief's building official report prepared by our CBO, Joy Lindsay. Do we have any questions of Joy on this? And again, it's for information purposes. Okay, thank you. Under administration, and that is 9.1, the Agricultural Property Standards Working Group. It has been agreed in the terms of reference for 3 members of council, and then we will consider the citizen appointees in our closed session later in the meeting. So at this time, I will entertain anyone that would like to put their name forward for a member of this committee. Councillor Blake, Forrester, Snoblin, Vanstone, and myself. Councillor Miltenberg also. Yes or no?
Who are the ones who are suggesting they be on it then?
Councillors Blake, Forrester, Snoblin, Vanstone, and myself.
Then no.
Okay. Okay, we clerk.
So just a point of process and procedure. I note that sorry, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 members of council and then the mayor who wish to be on. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. Councillors Snoblin, Vanstone, Blake, Forrester.
Okay.
And myself, yes.
All right. I was just going to suggest that the mayor, by virtue of his office, can sit on the committee. Does not count in quorum, however, has the right to participate and vote.
Okay. We have 4 members of council, and then I could be on as mayor on this. How do we want to sort through this? Suggestions. Clerk, please.
I suggest that I put everybody's names in a hat and we pull out 4 or 3.
Are you okay with that, Deputy Mayor? Councillor Snoblin?
I'll go along, although I'm not in favor.
I'll ask if you have an option to put forward.
I think I mentioned my option earlier that I thought we should apply for it and give the reasons why we think that we should be on the committee. I think we all have something to bring to the committee. Every single one of us on council is valued. Every single one of us has something to contribute. And I believe that, but I also believe that we should publicly state why we are valued and what we can bring to it, not just by virtue of pulling a name out of a hat. Somebody might say that one particular council member of these 4 that have put their names forward might say that, you know, they're known to be impartial, that they're known to be fair, that they're known to be, that they're known to be showing up for meetings. They don't, you know, not show up and say that they're going to be on a committee and then don't show up, you know. I think there's a lot of value to stating publicly why you think you should be part of this.
Okay, thank you for that. I'll come back to that thought. Councillor Miltenberg, please.
Yeah, I echo that and add to that. I do not want names drawn out of a hat. I have a real concern with that. I really don't want to be on this committee. I feel like I'm on a lot of committees, but I do have some concerns because there were members of this committee that voted every single time no to even getting information about it. And so to me, that shows an opinion that they want rather than looking at both sides, which is our job. It's fine to have your own opinion, but I think we need to look for everybody here. So I would like to say that why don't people say why they want to be on the committee? And then we do like in the old days, I've been to council meetings where they all took they had to do a deputy mayor once. Something had happened. So everybody did a little secret vote and handed in a piece of paper or something like that. I am not in favor of drawing it out of a hat. No.
Okay, thank you for that. Councillor Snowden, please.
I think what you've mentioned spurs an idea that if we, write down the reasons why or publicly state our reasons why, and then we vote on it. But I also think that the clerk and the CAO should have a vote in this. And I know that seems a little unusual, but I think if we were to vote with, just the councillor and the mayor and the deputy mayor, it's going to be kind of an awkward vote. But I think by asking the clerk and the CAO, who, are the backbone of the administrative side of this council, have an idea of what they see would move this committee forward, whether it's for the change in the zoning or whether it's not. So they have a sense they know us, and whether or not we're publicly stating our values and our attributes, whether they confer that that's right.
Okay, thank you for that. Clerk, comment, please.
2 points. The first is that it's just in response to what Councillor Miltenberg had said. Regardless of how a member of council votes on how to proceed on it, does not disqualify them from participating in a committee. Okay, so in principle, if they do not agree on a particular issue, that does not disqualify them for participating. However, the caveat there is that they must proceed in good faith. That is, that if the council decides that they're going to establish a committee to consider a certain item and have it brought forward, they are to participate in that direction. So you can't say, no, I don't like this, and then, oh, I want to be on the committee, and then do everything to make sure that it doesn't happen. That doesn't work that way, okay? So I'm just making that statement out loud so that council understands. The second thing is that, with all due respect, as staff, I feel it's inappropriate for me to vote on an issue. Thank you.
Yeah, Deputy Mayor, please.
Yeah, if it'll make it simpler, I can withdraw my thing. I got great confidence in this council, and we're farm orientated, and so I think they'll do the right thing. So if it'll make it easier for everybody, I can withdraw.
Okay, thank you for that. Councillor Miltenberg, please.
Well, thanks for that, Bill. And I don't want to do that to you because I've withdrawn from things in the past to make it easier and then gone, oh, I wish I hadn't done that. So I really don't want to put you in that position. I'm happy if it goes to council, and let's do what we're supposed to do in voting first before the post. You vote for the 3, and whoever gets the most votes of the 3, right? Because then you can vote for yourself if you want to be on it, and who are the other 2 you want on it, right? And then that's to me, is first before the post is a pretty fair way to do it. And we could do it anonymously, so that, let's say, Anita, I don't want you on there. I could say that without you knowing it. But, that's a hypothetical, just so you know.
Okay, okay, thank you. I'm going to ask the clerk a question, and that is the fact that Deputy Mayor Vanstone has offered to withdraw his name. That would leave 3 councillors plus myself that would fit the terms of reference that we have approved. Is that correct or incorrect?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. And the second question I have, are we good with that as a council? And if we're not, do we want to revisit the terms of reference and have more on? Or do we want the 3 plus myself on that? What is the will of council? Councillor Miltenberg, please.
I'd like to defer to Deputy Mayor. Are you okay with the 3, or would you prefer, like, you'd still kind of want to be on it, but, let's make it fair? Because like I said, in the past, I've stepped back and then later regretted it.
Okay, thanks. Question, Deputy Mayor, please.
No, it doesn't matter to me. As I said, I'm quite confident that it'll be done right. We are a farm community, so I want to make sure the farmers are represented here, because it could, I'm not going to say it is, but it could be really a deterrent to a lot of farming people. So I hope we do it right. So, and I've got no problem stepping back. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to ask for show of hands from council if we are in support of Councillors Snoblin, Blake, Forrester, and myself as mayor ex officio being on this committee. Is council in support of this? Okay. And that is supported by council.
All right.
Staff's good?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. And thanks again, everyone, for your thoughtful consideration of this. We have nothing under water. I'm sorry, under the water department, we do. 10.1 is the Dungannon Drinking Water System, the inspection report and rating record. It is for information of council. Do we have any questions or comments on this? If not, it is very similar under 10.2, the South Lucknow Distribution System for information purposes, inspection report and rating record. Do we have any questions or comments? Seeing none. Okay, nothing under drainage, public works. The tree order under 12.1, we have purchased 500 trees the last few years. It has been the recommendation, we've all read the report, that we change that to 450 trees for the reasons stated. Do we have any questions or comments on this? Deputy Mayor, please.
I think we should look at even cutting it back more. And I'll give you my reason. I got trees last year, and every year we get smaller trees and smaller trees. And I don't see the people really going full tilt at this with the smaller trees. So I know myself, I don't think I would get them again because they are small and they're harder to manage to get them to the point where you can more or less walk away from them, because I watered mine all this year and I'm going to have to water them all again next year. And I had to stake them all and I had to treat them. And so anyways, I think we should do less. I would even go with between 300 and 400. So anyways, that's just my personal comments. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Councillor Miltenberg, please.
Yeah, I appreciate your comments. I got here in landscaping to plant really big ones, and I had to water them every 2 weeks. They were planted last year, and I was supposed to do it this year, but they staked them and all that. But you see, you and I go in different directions. We agree fundamentally on things, Bills, but then we think there's different ways to get there. My comment would be, why wouldn't we just order bigger trees then, rather than ordering less smaller? You know, like, if it's a budgetary thing, and I don't have the report in front of me to talk knowledgeably about it, so we'll let whoever has it in front of them talk about it. But let's say, and I'm just going to pick a random number. Let's say we spend $1,000, and over the years we keep spending $1,000, and the trees keep getting smaller. Well, then we have the option of still spending $1,000 and getting less trees, or spending $1,500 and getting the right size trees. I don't know what the right answer is, but either way, I think the trees need to be bigger by the sounds of it. And I guess my question to Tom is through you is numbers, and I don't have the report and they don't stick in my mind.
Okay, Tom, I'm going to, the question would be the size of trees. Is that determined on the number that we order, or what would your comment be, please?
I don't think there's much of an option on the size of the tree you can get. There's an option on variety. They're a bit smaller than in previous years. The main issue in the report is that everyone that wanted trees got trees, and I think at least 5 people didn't show up to collect their tree, and then we had to move them. So that would be before people knew what size they were. So given all that, I would recommend decreasing the amount.
Okay, Councillor Snowblin, please.
Well, I'm in favor of decreasing the amount, but from the standpoint that, this is a budgetary item, it is a cost to council. And although I do support the planting of trees and the reforestation and the rehabilitation and all the good things that comes with planting trees, I think council needs to be a little bit more austere when looking at budget items that cost taxpayers. And I would be in favor of going down to 350 trees.
Okay, thank you for that.
I'll second that.
Okay, that
wasn't a motion, but
okay, any other questions or comments? Councillor Forster, please.
Thanks, Ken. Is there any way to find out like the success rate of how many survive? Probably not, right? But you know who has them, correct?
We do know who have received them. I guess we just have their phone numbers. I don't know if it's possible to call everyone and ask them how their trees are doing. I know the people that their trees die, they call me and tell me that.
I do think it's very prudent that we support this program because in life we plant a tree under whose shade we know will never sit for the benefit of future generations. And it's a matter of the number. I would be quite comfortable coming down to 400. However, if the will of council is less, please put that forward. Councillor Miltenberg, please.
And again, I don't have the numbers. Was it 450 we had before?
No, we had 500 before, and
Oh.
it was recommended by staff to go to 450.
Yeah, because that's a 10% drop. You know, I love percentages, right? So like 400 is a 20% drop. 350, like that's a big drop in 1 year. So I'm going to suggest a number based on percentages. I wouldn't want to go any bigger than a 20% drop, and I'd be happier with a 10% drop, no matter what the numbers are, but I do think we should drop it. Sorry, again, it's not from me. Did you have a number recommended in your report? I'm sorry.
Yes, 450.
I'd be happy to take, that's a 10% drop, and that's bang on what I would recommend. So I'm going to go with Tom on this one.
Okay, so we have a sentiment, and I'm just going to ask for a show of hands if we're in support of the tree program and dropping it to 450 trees. Those that are in support of that, hands up, please. Opposed? That is carried. Thank you. You're good at that, Tom?
Absolutely.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you very much for all the information you provided to us. 12.2 is the Public Works employee appointments. And we'll consider that in section 18 as a bylaw. Any questions or comments at this time? And if not, I'll just ask for a show of hands for consideration of this in section 18. And that is supported by council. Thank you. 12.3 is for information purposes, the Highway 21 winter closures. Thank you very much to Tom and our CAO for your work with MTO, OPP, and others, the county involved in this. And any questions or comments of this? Councillor Forster, please.
Okay, thank you, Glenn. I haven't got the full report here, but I noticed just one grader with a V-plow on it in King Garden. Is that correct?
Tom, please.
Yeah, that's correct.
No. Well, I think there should be more in that, but it's a start, I guess, but that's their decision, not mine. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments on this? If not, thanks for the work that you did on it. Is there, we'll move now to committee reports, council committee reports. Is there any reports that anyone would like to share? And I will go first to Councillor Hickey and then Councillor Miltenberg, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For the Maitland Valley Conservation Authority, you probably heard in the news, Bill 68 has been announced. It was announced on October 31st. There's still a lot of unanswered questions for it. Plan to Protect Ontario, proposed Ontario Provincial Conservation Agency. In that plan, they plan on cutting the conservation authorities in Ontario from 36 down to 7. So they're going to take Maitland Valley and amalgamate it with Asable Bayfield up the coast of Lake Huron, across Owen Sound to Newmarket area, down south of Aurelia, kind of. Then it also includes a section up by Thunder Bay, all within our new proposed conservation authority. So a very broad geographical and landscape, like when you're comparing us up to Thunder Bay, of what they would be dealing with. Still a lot of unanswered questions. We see it as slower times, higher cost, and our new proposed office is in Newmarket as part of the plan. So it would take Roxor off the map. In 2024, Maitland Valley, we averaged 5.7 day turnaround for applications that came through the door for building, which is very efficient. We had over 100 applications that went through the door, but we also talked through certain plans and kept over 100 applications out of the system. By just suggesting if you move this or adjusted that, it kept 100 applications out of the system, and it helped the builder go quicker also. So not a lot of positive news for that, and a lot of unanswered questions still to be answered. Thank you.
On that subject, Is there a comment period, and if so, to who? And has an opinion been expressed to our MPP on this matter?
Conservation Ontario had a meeting last week, I think it was, with the exec. They're planning, proposing, throwing out ideas right now. And there has been some letter suggestions being sent to our MPs or MPPs and the ministry. But it's just a lot of unanswered questions, and it's just going through the paperwork right now to try and understand it all, to know exactly what they're proposing and how to go about it.
Is there a date of implementation on this that is being proposed?
Right now, it's late 2026, 2027 is when they're hoping to have it all in place. But it's going through the process of it right now of October 31st. They told everybody, they dropped the bombshell to everybody on October 31st. So all the local agencies right now are just in the process of going through it. I have a meeting tomorrow night, and I have a special meeting a week from now, just so Maitland Valley can try and figure out an attack plan to know how to proceed.
Would there be a benefit if it was the will of this council to write a letter of opinion on this situation to you as our representative?
I think absolutely a letter of support from ACW would be supportive.
So I'm going to ask if council is in support of a letter with an opinion on this proposal. A show of now, Councillor Miltenberg, question or comment, please.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, but I don't think it's time sensitive. So I'd like to see the letter come back and then us endorse this rather than say, staff, we haven't really talked about this, but you know what we think, so send a letter. You know what I mean? If that's okay. We have time, it sounds like.
Councillor Hickey, would you concur that it's not an urgent situation, that we could direct our staff to prepare a letter in consultation and come back to us for approval?
I don't have the dates in front of me right now, but I do have the dates of kind of the timeline they hope to implement this part of the plan through Doug Ford's government. So I don't have the exact dates, but no, it's not a rush to go through immediately with the letter.
So it could come back to a future meeting.
That's right.
Okay, thank you for that. Deputy Mayor, please.
Yes, and I think the letter's a good idea, but I think it should not only just go to I should go to our MPPs and anybody that, even the county, we should send it to everybody, get as many people on board as we can. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for that comment. And yes, with the circulation, if it would also be included to Huron County Council, then it could be considered for support at that level also. Okay, so I'm going to ask for a show of hands if council is in support of this. That's supported by council. Thank you, and thank you very much for making us aware of that, as many of us were. Councillor Miltenberg, please.
Yeah, there's 2 sets of minutes on here.
Now you're dealing with 16?
I'm just saying, St. Helens report, they are no longer accurate, and I'm going to take a break.
Fully respected. Yes, Deputy Mayor, please.
I'd like to ask the council if we could send a letter to the St. Helens committee, or not a letter, a card. And they've lost 2 of their prime people in the St. Helens. Louis Shetler died of cancer, and Ron Snowblin. So I think it would be good on our part to send a card to the committee in, respect of that. So that's what I would ask. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I agree with that. And I'm going to ask for a show of hands of council if we're in support of that. That's supported by council. Councillor Snowden, please.
Further to that, I think an invitation or extension to St. Helens Committee, if there's anything that council or staff might be able to do to help them through this transition, that we hope that they would reach out and vocalize what their needs are so that we can help them.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. And just on a personal note, when I did learn of this, I went personally on behalf of myself and of course ACW. However, and I expressed our condolences to Barb and the family. And this was in advance of Louis Shetler passing, and offered any support that we could. to the Hall Committee and the great work that both the individuals that Deputy Mayor Vanstone cited, and I did attend the funeral. Any other committee reports? Councillor Forster, please.
Okay, thanks, Glenn. Last Remembrance Day, I laid the wreath at Lucknow Cenotaph and attended the church service, and a real interesting presentation on Vimy Ridge. I didn't know, but 3,500 Canadians died there, and that the minister that gave the message, he was there a year ago. So very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Any other committee reports? I did attend the Maitland Trail Association breakfast at Ben Miller Hall, and it was for the Maitland Trail, the landowners to thank them, and they thanked ACW for all of the cooperation for the benefit of all that enjoy the trails. The same day, one of our long-term residents, Bill McWhinney, celebrated his 90th birthday. In Dungan, I presented a certificate on behalf of ACW to him, and it was extremely well attended. That evening, I attended the Lucknow Legion Remembrance Day dinner in Lucknow, and David Yates made a great presentation on all the cenotaphs in Huron County, and it was well attended and really well received. And thank you, Wayne, for laying the wreath in Lucknow, and I also laid the wreath in Goderich on Remembrance Day. And about a week ago, I guess, attended the, on behalf of our municipality, the Strategic Planning for Economic Development Workshop, in moving economic development forward and the involvement of ACW in that. Is there anything that anyone would like to bring up under new business for a future meeting? Councillor Snoblin, please.
2 items. First, I would like to thank the County of Huron for installing the speed reduction sign on Blythe Road. I think that was the right move, and it was probably should have been done a long time ago. However, I'm not certain that I really see 100% reduction in the vehicles that are traveling that. And I'm curious, I guess I was a little disappointed that Huron County didn't go further with that speed reduction by introducing some kind of a flashing solar speed limit sign. You see them different places like at Carlow and so on. Why that maybe wouldn't have been installed, or even a flashing light or a sign that says, new speed limit, something to that effect. I would ask council to, support me in my request to administration to maybe ask Huron County if they would be willing to install some kind of sign that forewarns the speed reduction along that road. And maybe, I guess, reach out to the clerk as to what angle we should look into this. Should it be in the form of a letter? Would you like something, council, to endorse this?
So
Sorry,
if I could say, this would be an agenda item for a future meeting. So that would be the request, correct?
Perfect.
Is council in support of this? Mm-hmm. And that's supported by council. Perfect. And please continue, Councillor Snoblin.
And secondly, for the 3rd time in, I think, 3 years, I'm bringing this up again in that I think that we have an opportunity to introduce elementary students in our local area and our municipality to learn about municipal government. And I'm really hopeful that we can find a way to have some students, whether it's Brookside and St. Mary's, and I don't know if Goderich Public School is encompassing that. I don't know what it looks like, but I am totally in favor of introducing elementary school students that are learning about politics and civics and municipal governments and such. And given the fact that next year is an election year, I think it's a perfect opportunity for young students to learn about the election system, about our government. And I think as council members, we need to have an eye on the future and see if, we can recruit some grade 5 students at some point down the road to take an interest in politics. It all starts when they're young. And so for that reason, I'd like to see something on the agenda for future meeting that council can discuss and debate as to whether or not we see the value in that.
Okay, thank you very much. So the suggestion is for future meeting, elementary school students, municipal discussion, education, cut it how you want. Is council in support of this for a future meeting agenda? Opposed? That is, it will, staff, you're good with those two? And please continue, Councillor Snoblin.
Well, further to that, I guess we can speak to it once it comes back to another meeting, but I'm looking at, you know, some kind of a mentorship where a student would sit with a council member, would sit with a mayor and a deputy mayor and just watch the proceedings.
Okay, we can have that discussion at a future meeting. Perfect. Anything else for new business at a future meeting? If not, okay, thank you very much for that. We have nothing under correspondence for direction. For information, there are 4 sets of minutes. Do anyone have any questions on any of these minutes? And if not, the Roma conference is in January 26th. Councillors Hickey, Miltenberg, Snoblin, and myself are registered for that. The Ogre Conference, end of March, 1st of April. Councillor Forster and myself are registered. Those are reminders only. And with that, yes, we will move to 18.2 under bylaws. And I would entertain a mover and a seconder for the appointment of the Public Works employees. Deputy Mayor Vanstone moves. Councillor Hickey seconds that leave be given to introduce bylaw number 66-2025, being a bylaw to appoint public works positions for the Township of Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh, and that it now be read severally, a first, second, and third time, and finally passed this 18th day of November 2025. All in favor of the motion is read, and that is carried. We do have a closed session today, and I would entertain a mover and a seconder to move into our closed session. Councillor Blake and Forrester, that Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh Township Council move into a closed session in accordance with Section 239 in brackets 2 and brackets B and E of the Municipal Act, with the CAO and clerk remaining in attendance for the duration, and the CBO and the planner remaining in attendance for items 9.1 at 10:31 a.m. for the purpose of discussing personal matters about unidentifiable individuals and potential litigation affecting the municipality. All in favor of this motion as read. And that is carried. Thank you very much to all members of the public that are joining us and our staff. And we will have a recess for 8 minutes and come back at 10:40. Are you good with that, clerk? Thank you very much. Okay, we are now back in our open session, and I will call on our clerk for reporting out, please.
So the committee has, or the council has made a decision on the Agricultural Property Standards Working Group appointments. So I'll leave it back to the mayor.
Thank you very much. And I will read the motion and then open it up for a mover and a seconder. And that would be that Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh Township Council hereby appoint Dan Hayden, Lynn Harris, Chris McLennan, and Doug Fines as citizen appointees to the Agricultural Property Standards Working Group, and further that councillors Blake, Forrester, and Snoblin be appointed as council members on the working group. Do I have a mover and a seconder for this? And that is Councillor Miltenberg and Councillor Blake. All in favor of the motion is read. And that is carried. I thank you. For the confirmatory bylaw, a mover and a seconder, please. And that is Councillor Hickey and Councillor Forrester, that leave be given to introduce bylaw number 67-2025, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Township of Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh Council meeting held on November 18th, 2025, and will now be read severally, a first, second, and third time, and finally pass this 18th day of November 2025. All in favor of the motion is read. That is carried, and a motion to adjourn, if you would please. Deputy Mayor Vanstone and Councillor Blake, that Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh Township Council does now adjourn to meet again on the 2nd day of December 2025 at 9 a.m. or at the call of the mayor. All in favor of this motion. And that is carried. Thank you very much to all for your thoughtful input today. And meeting is now adjourned.